welcome back, everybody. Here we are, game 2 in the best of 3 series. Pre-made Unstoppable. OGL takes the first game versus EOD, and now we're going to see whether or not they can take the win on blue side. What are your thoughts going into this game 2, Cole?
A lot of thoughts. I think I'm going to focus on the draft because that's what we're in the middle of right now. Gameplay is a whole different issue. It's hard to fix gameplay in the middle of a series. You're not just going to become a better player, but you can change the way you draft, and I think that that's something that EOD in particular is going to want to look to do. Last game, their draft was really kind of, what's the word I want to look for? Erratic? Erratic. There was lots of different things going on that didn't really want to sync up much. They had kind of this early game win condition with an early game Caitlyn lane. They had an Ari who spikes in the mid game. They had an Olaf who falls off as the game goes on, and they just had the random Swain thrown in top lane. Like, that's what Myopia plays, but if you're going to be drafting the Swain, you'd like to see a different jungler and a different mid laner that kind of play better along with it. Instead, you know, it didn't really provide a ton of value in these early fights that they've lost. It wasn't strong enough to overcome the scaling disadvantage that EOD was at. OGL, I think they can say, well, let's just run the same thing back. They're going to ban off the Caitlyn because that was an issue for them in early laning phase. I think that's a good adaptation from them. But they can say, you know, like, we drafted a scaling comp and won very hard, so why don't we just go again?
Yeah, but this time they're not going to have the salty run back. Senna is going to be banned from the last ban of EOD, and they first pick the Karma. That's interesting coming up from OGL. I guess they want to show that they can play the Karma a lot better than EOD did, and just have to wait and see, as we are waiting to see what EOD are looking to pick here. You know, bans were kind of the same, except the Caitlyn and Senna being new additions for the first round of bans. So it'll be interesting to see as EOD opts for the Taric, locks it in, and now we wait and see whether or not, you know, it's too bad Kalista got nerfed. I was actually a huge fan of Targ Kalista. I always have been. And then Riot's like, you know what? Kalista got her good 2 months of fame. Now we nerf her.
Yeah, and I think the issue as well with Kalista especially is that at this level of play, she's just not a good pick. It's just too hard. Like, if a Platinum 80 carry is playing Kalista, if they were a good Kalista, they'd probably be in Diamond, is kind of the way that tends to go. So that's one of those things that you have to deal with. You know, same thing goes for Azir. It's kind of the same philosophy of, like, it's just hard to be effective on that champion at this level. So I would be shocked to see a Kalista ever picked in Unstoppable. Instead, we see a Zac, which is an idea. That's the way I'll put it.
Zac's fine. I think Zac sets up, you know, very easy ganks. You know, there's some complexity with playing Zac, but overall, I think it's a solid pickup here if they can get a better draft that the Zac can complement. And speaking of enchanters, we do see Lulu coming in as well, so this kind of implies that the Karma's going top. I guess OGL really want to try out this Karma top lane and Lulu support, I'm assuming? With the Kog'Maw. Oh, okay, so
we have a Juggernaut comp coming in from OGL.
You know, I haven't seen a team pull this off in a long time, so very interesting to see whether or not OGL can make this work. You know, I think, what else are they missing if they want to go for this Juggernaut comp?
I mean, you've kind of already got it in the form of Lulu and another support that can slap a shield on the Kog'Maw. It's pretty good already. I mean, you need a little bit of mixed damage, you need maybe a front line, but that's really easy to do when you're still looking at picking your jungler, and the Karma can go mid. And, I mean, Lulu, the Karma and Lulu, that's the annoying thing about these champions, is that they're not meta everywhere, but they can capably go anywhere. The Lulu could just go mid lane. Like, that was a pick. It used to be Lulu top. Dyrus was on Lulu duty for all of Season 4, and though it's not meta, it's a viable way to play if you're just trying to force composition. You know, she won't totally die in every lane imaginable. So I think that's the issue for EODs. They don't know where these picks are going, and OGL can kind of do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of seasons ago, Lulu was like the classic LeBlanc counter because, it was like when Time Warp Tonic was super broken, and he just would build Corrupting Potion, and LeBlanc basically could not play the lane. It was really funny. I remember a collegiate team, UCI, used to play it, I think, back when they had their International Collegiate Cup run. I'm pretty sure, at least if it wasn't UCI, it was one of the other international colleges that were playing in it. But yeah, I mean, this Lulu could be flexed, but I'm suspecting it's just going to go down in the bot lane with the Kog'Maw. And Now these bans coming in, the Zerath was from last, as well as the Corki. And now EOD does not want to deal with the Hecarim. I guess they have some traumatizing feelings towards it, and we do see the classic Kassadin ban as well. So now this leads me to, wonder whether or not they're going to pick up their mid laner first, and they do. I was going to say maybe they want to save it for, their counter pick.
Yeah, I think the issue for EOD there is that when you're out of champions to pick and your mid laner has been 3-banned, you're just running low on options. And if it's not Ahri, it's going to be the uncomfortable Syndra. And so I think they figure it's probably pretty obvious that Ahri's going to be their lock-in. It wasn't really the issue last game either. I actually kind of liked how it played. I think it was doing work in fights, so not really a thing that needed changing. So I think it's reasonable, and then you can be more flexible with the top lane pick because you really don't want to lock in this one again.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Kayn pickup. If they're gonna go Kayn, they need a very strong top laner. I don't know. I'm on the edge about this Kayn pick. What about you, Cole?
It's a pick. It exists. It's a thing. We've seen it a little bit, even at the highest of levels. It's not a perfect pick in a lot of situations, but I think it kind of does what OGL needed to do if he goes red Kayn, in just being a disruptor that can dive into the back line, go untargetable for a few seconds, make EOD worry about it, threaten the Jinx a little bit, and then just die. I mean, he doesn't need to carry fights. You've got the Kog'Maw in the back line, so as long as someone can go in front and form a disruption, that's really all they need. And I think Kayn pretty good into Zac is the idea here, because he's able to kind of keep up with Zac. He can get those red orbs from the Zac. He can actually interrupt the jump with a well-timed W. So there's a lot going there. I agree that it's not ideal, but if it's what they're comfortable on, it's not terrible in this situation. I mean, it's weird. Like, it's not the stereotypical jungle that you want with a Juggernaut comp, but it'll work in a pinch.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that you pick Kayn with, like, I'm pretty sure 3 weak lanes. Kog'Maw, Lulu, not very, strong in the early game, obviously. Vladimir could be a really good lane, especially if it's going top lane into the Gangplank. But even then, it's not like Gangplank has this huge, like, pressure on top of Vladimir. So, who knows? We'll let the jungler of OGL decide and let him prove us wrong. We'll see what OGN has on the table for us, as we are gonna be seeing them round out their comps. EOD has a more standard comp, right? Classic team fight. Jinx gets excited, bing bang bong, Vladimir ult. Meanwhile, OGL, they kind of just have these 2 enchanters for the Kog'Maw, and then you have 2 random semi frontliner champions. Cole.
Yeah, I think EOD actually did a good job drafting a composition that has a unified idea. They want to get to the late game. They have Jinx and Vlad. These are 2 different late game hyper carries, and you have the Taric to support them and a Zac that can go in. So if you get Cosmic Gradients down onto Jinx, Vlad, and Zac, and the 3 of them are just able to do their thing, OGL is going to fall to that. There are not enough shields in the world to mitigate the damage of a Jinx that's free firing and a Vladimir that gets on top of everyone. And OGL doesn't have the crowd control necessary to deny that. They really actually have almost none. There's a Karma root, there's the polymorph from Lulu, and a knockup from Kayn. But other than that, it's just slows. So that can be an issue for them. So if EOD are able to get these late game team fights, then they'll win. I think the issue is that OGL has a Juggernaut comp, and that could be really, really effective in skirmishes around the dragon early on when it's not this full-on late game 5v5, around the Herald, just in kind of this early to mid game. You put a shield on the Kog'Maw. If he has just 1 item and a couple shields, he can go to town. And so OGL, I think, as weird as it is when they have kind of this hyper-scaling AD carry and 2 supports to beef them up, I think they're the ones that need to play a little faster here. I don't think the Kog'Maw and Gangplank are going to outscale the Jinx and the Vladimir, and I don't think they have the front line necessary to disrupt EOD's game plan.
Yeah, so the only issue is, how does Kog'Maw, position against, people like Zac, Vladimir, diving into the backline, right? This is all up to whether or not Lulu and Karma can just keep this Kog'Maw alive, which sometimes it's very hard, and this Lulu needs to make sure she can polymorph the Vladimir, able to put the shields before Zach CC's the Kog'Maw. Like, that's a lot of threats on the side of EOD that kind of makes me worry for this, Juggernaut Kog'Maw, team comp that they've drafted for themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like EOD's draft just better here. I think they've got easier execution. I think there's just too much pressure on this Kog'Maw to perform in this team composition. And Gangplank, not exactly easy to pull off either. They've just got a lot of difficult to play champions and a difficult to play composition. And ease of execution is an important factor here. We're in Unstoppable. We're not in like TSM versus Cloud9 at the pro play level. Picking easier champions and an easier game plan matters. The easier your composition is to execute, the better it's going to be. And OGL have picked themselves something that, if they were really, really good players, they could pull it off, but they've got a mountain to climb here. So,
yeah, with that being said, I think we should, go toward a break before we transition onto the Rift. Let our audience simmer down on, both these drafts. Let them give the final verdict whether or not both teams are griefing or, both teams are just secret geniuses stuck in unstoppable pre-made. So with that being said, don't leave us. Grab a drink, grab something to eat, and we'll be back with you guys shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Here, back from our short break, back on the Rift for Game 2, EOD versus OGL, as EOD needs to win this game in order to push this series to Game 3, as they are going to go across the Rift with the infamous Kane pick coming out from OGN. How are you feeling about this, Cole?
we've got some interesting drafts, my friend, with some interesting compositions, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. There's this thing called the meta, and we just don't care about that here in pre-made Unstoppable. It's just not a concern. We're locking in Kane, Gangplank, Juggermaw. We're locking in Jinx, Zac, Tarek. Like, who cares, man? Let's just go for it. These are what these players are comfortable on. These are the picks that they want to play. It's probably still the right idea if this is what you can play better. Better to play like this Ahri mid instead of something more meta if Ahri is the pick that you're best on and practiced on. And so that's what we're seeing a lot of here. I think it makes for more interesting gameplay. You kind of get to see these play patterns and compositions that you're not used to seeing at a high level. You know, it's not just another Ashe Senna lane. It's Kog'Maw Jinx. Sure,
Yep.
Ashe was available. Don't need that.
Although, you know, I don't know, man. Myopia has that cheese Vladimir skin. Very hard to see the Hemoplague through the river.
What skin is this? I don't know. I haven't heard of this.
It's Dark Waters Vladimir. It's okay.
Okay, and it just blends into the river.
The ultimate does, yeah. It slightly does. People kind of meme about it. They're like, oh my god, the competitive advantage, you know.
Nothing will ever be as bad as you ever play ARAM with Underworld Twisted Fate back in the day?
No, but I understand Underworld Twisted Fate was banned. I don't know if it's still banned, but in competitive play, it was banned because the cards with like the way the animation at the end of the queue goes, it was like so hard to tell where it was actually going.
Yeah, and those things, they were the color of the bridge in ARAM, so you'd throw out the queue as Twisted Fate, and they were invisible. like you had to be like laser focused on Twisted Fate to see his queue. You just take damage and be like, something hit, what hit me? Like you're staring at your character and you can just miss the card flying through you. So invisible skins aside, we've got a pretty standard early game here. Nothing too exciting going on.
Yeah, should be rather timid. Unless Rindo wants to, you know, go for a spectacular gank. I think Gangplank would be rather easy one to execute on. Or maybe Karma.
The nice thing about Zac and a Gangplank is that because most of Zac's CC is displacement, oranges don't do anything, so you can just kill him anyway.
Yeah, that's true. And he can only orange one of them, and then, you know, buys you a lot of time. And if anything, it puts a lot of pressure for the Vladimir. Despite him not having Ignite for the kill pressure, I think, you know, Gank might put, you know, Ethno in a very bad position and allows for Myopia to have more breathing room. He has taken a lot of damage from the GP, you know, Grass GP with Parley. Not a fun combo for the opponent.
Yeah, and I don't love this pathing from Rindo. The Zac was towards the top side. The wave was shoving in towards Myopia's turret. And if there was a Zac there, it could have been an easy punish, would have blown a flash at a minimum. Instead, we see Rindo going towards the bot lane after clearing the topside jungle. I'm going to pick up the blue buff instead. Still hasn't gotten a crab, so OGN outpacing this Zac very aggressively in the early game.
Yeah, and looking at the opposite jungle, Charm landing on top. Don't think it's going to be enough damage. Meanwhile, the Karma gets a lot of damage in return. Rather favorable trade for Gosha. But, you know, look at the Kayn. Does have Conqueror, which does imply that he's probably going to go red Kayn, which we kind of thought was the most optimal one, despite, you know, OGL playing Kayn.
Yeah, I would have been astonished if this was a blue Kayn. That would have been downright bad. This blue Kayn into Zac Tarek is just asking to lose the game, so glad to see we have the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how he's going to be able to stack, you know, his orbs fast enough. I think, you know, maybe he wants to gank bottom a lot or just invade Zac, but even then, it's like, it'll be a little bit slower compared to getting blue Kayn completion, but, you know, for now, OGN just needs to focus on farming, looking for gank opportunities, and wow, that is a huge wave for Myopia. Let's see if Gangplank's going to be able to clear that out. If not, buys Vladimir maybe a cheat recall? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's again an opportunity where a dive could happen. You have this Aftershock Zac with a wave shoving in. You could try and deny Gangplank this wave with a gank, but the Zac actually on the bottom side of the map trying to get a lane gank off. It's not going to work out, so this big wave just going to slowly walk towards Therno's turret and get picked up. He's actually able to freeze it right in front of his turret. I hope he realizes he is in trouble with that freeze, so he actually recalls and teleports back. Okay.
Huh.
Not the ideal teleport in my opinion. Would have preferred to walk back the lane with the wave in the state that it is, because here comes OGN for the gank and Myopia is in trouble.
Oh no. This is giving off horrible vibes for me. Oh, never mind, he's fine. Cool. Although I will say, TP and, losing a chunk of your health. Yeah, you're Vladimir, but it doesn't feel good. He does have the Phoenix Codex, so does have some CDR, but, you know, GP is, rather comfortable in this lane at the moment.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be any rush to get back to that lane because it is frozen at your opponent's turret. Trying to hit creeps is just leaving yourself vulnerable to ganks. And I mean, it's almost exemplary how OGN was immediately there to punish that teleport. You see that teleport come in as a jungler, and you're like, really? Okay, well, I'll just go hit this
Yeah.
up. And that just buys so much pressure for Etherno because, I mean, Myopia, he hasn't picked up any form of teleport. All it did was cost him a bit of health. So just not an ideal use of that summoner spell. You'd rather save it to go towards a dragon fight or something like that. I think he could have walked back to lane. I'm going to stop harping on this now because it doesn't really matter too much. Going to pick up this big wave at his turret anyway, so that lane going to stay relatively even. There's just that global advantage. Gangplank does have the cannon barrage as well, so we're going to see Etherno being able to exert way more pressure towards the bottom side of the map here over the next couple minutes.
Yeah, and our good friend Rindo doing his best cosplay of our good old friend Yoda in exile in Dagobah, aka his own jungle, has not shown his face across the map at all. So maybe, I guess he just wants to wait till level 6 for a gank, which, I don't think is optimal. Meanwhile, we do see OGN looking for the gank. A lot of slow coming out on top. Does ult on top of the Taric, forcing the flash away as Adam having to burn his summoner, but does not lose his life. So not the worst scenario for the side of EOD.
Yep, a flash burn for a gank like that where you're clearing out a ward and the enemy jungler shows up on top of you. It's a scary position to be in, only having to burn one flash to get out of it safely. Not a terrible fate, so well played by Adam and Rift to escape that one. Myopia in a little bit of trouble here. Oh.
Yeah, this is not going well. Where's the flash away? Oh, no. Oh. Yeah.
You could see what they were thinking. The Zac was coming. It's like, all right, let's start the fight, get the engage off, and then the gank will be successful. The issue, Myopia just forces it a little too early, gets a little too low, isn't able to survive the damage from Eterno, and that means that it's just a free kill going over. But now OGN in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, OGN just dies here. This is oh my gosh, Gosha just saved his team from losing that first Drake, but this could be going a little messy. The Kog'Maw on top of the Ahri does not do as much damage yet. Should be able to last hit Adam. Good kill for rapid fire. Kill going over the Kog'Maw is 100% worth it, but if my jungler is doing what OGN just said, I'm spamming question mark pings on him.
Yeah, you can't solo a dragon as a pre-form, pre-items level 6 Kayn. It's just not something that champion's capable of. You see his health bar getting way too low. You need to call your bot lane over to help out with that. You know that Zac is top lane. You know that your top laner has teleport as well. There's no reason for you to risk it in the way that that happened. It's fortunate for OGL that they are able to secure it anyway with that big Karma Q. So that's really the saver there, but unnecessary risk, and they do pay at least one kill for it.
Yeah, definitely. But, a solid gold lead coming out from OGL. They have around a 1.2 gold lead in their favor. Meanwhile, the Gangplank is going to be crashing the wave under the Vladimir, which is to be expected. Vladimir does have a atrocious laning phase, and now GP does have the Executioner's Calling, which, if you're Miotopia, you're crying on the inside.
Yeah, the healing reduction, a really good pickup into Vlad. It's just a really excellent way to make sure he can't sustain as well. This is something that the League of Legends community at large has been harping on for a while. Is people picking up healing reduction when they shouldn't, or not picking it up when they should. We've all kind of started to learn, Early Executioner's pretty good. Early Merlinomicon, pretty bad. And it's good to see, at this level even. We've got good itemization choices. That's the proper buy into a Vladimir lane. And it's going to be a big part of this Gangplank continuing to exert pressure onto the lane.
As we do see Rindo looking for a gank, I guess he's just going to walk across mid lane, minding his own business.
Yeah, that's kind of a mistake too. No reason to do that. You don't get anything. You're just exposing your position. But, I mean, maybe if the concern was that Herald is going down immediately, you'd say, I'm okay giving up information. I want to get there as quickly as possible. I still disagree with it.
Yeah.
Zach has been pretty invisible. Have we even seen Zach use an E on a champion yet this game?
I don't know. Well, he did E on top of the GP, but that was way too late when Mio died.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I said, Rendo's cosplaying Yoda, exiled in Dagobah. Just, he's chilling.
You pick Zach for the E. You gotta knock some people up. That's not you launch yourself in. You have the elastic slingshot. You do some damage. You get to gank off. That's the whole point of the champion. Power farming really not the dream on Zach. So it's a little disappointing to see it not working out so far. There's just a lot of wards and a lot of lanes that aren't in the right position at the time that Rendo shows up to them. So it's been difficult.
Vladimir possibly dead? No, he's fine. But
that was a lot of minions.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, lane gank 2.0. Rendo gonna be spotted out on that ward, sitting on top of it, sweeps it. Okay,
yeah.
We know. More time wasted for this poor Zach.
Man, I guess Rendo just doesn't get to play the game. He gets to play PvE. I don't know. If I wanted to play PvE, I would have played like Persona or something.
Yeah, and the issue is that if you're gonna play PvE jungle, like at least you can get some objectives. Like if you pick Udyr PvE jungler, but he'll at least secure some dragons and maybe a herald or two. The Zach hasn't secured anything. It's no dragon, no herald, no ganks, just sadness. And we see a fight breaking out on this herald now. Both teams are here. They know what's going on.
Yep.
Someone gonna do something?
Oh, Zach, elastic slingshot. There we go. Able to go on top of the gangplank, but forcing the flash of Ethno as he does pop the cannon barrage. Nicely done. Able to get on top of 3 members now. Maybe looking for a re-engage. The Kane does ultimate on top of the Zach. Targ ultimate gonna keep Rendo alive with a sliver of HP. Oh my lord. He even had passive, so very unfortunate. OGN gets taken out. 0-2 on the Kane. Not the best position for him to be in.
Yeah, and that was a very well-timed Cosmic Radiance. It's one of those abilities where if you hold on to it and you don't use it too soon, it can really force the opponent to play in weird ways. They can't overcommit while it's available, and so you see OGL hesitant to take that fight, and then finally the Cosmic Radiance comes in, and it's just not going to work out for them. So EOD picks up a kill onto the Kane. Another clutch thing there worth pointing out is that Dr. Kennen was tagged up and at risk of going down to Kane ult, but he used a flash and his ultimate to get over the wall and out of sight so that OGN could not use it on him. And that kept him alive and made sure that no one on EOD went down. Of course, they are going to have to trade this dragon. OGN hauled towards it after coming back up, and there's going to be no contest for that.
Yep, and that's going to be 2 dragons going straight over towards OGL. Nicely done from them. Now they, have a bit of a head start. I would wish OGN, had a better position himself as a jungler, but not like his, opponent jungler is going to be doing much to, fight against him.
Yep. So I think a couple dragons is good. It's what you need if you're OGL. Of course, your win condition is still this Kog'Maw. That's kind of the focus. It's a little sad that they don't have the Kog'Maw snowballing. This EOD bot lane has been playing relatively safe. They're actually keeping up in farm and not exposing themselves to much. So rapid fire not going to be popping off just yet, and that's what OGL need. And they're against the clock. We did say it already, is that there is this big scaling advantage. Jinx is going to be a monster with a Taric to support her, and Vladimir in front as well. So gonna need to keep being more dragons for OGL, and we're gonna need to see this Kog'Maw actually do something.
Yeah, definitely, and I believe it was no, it's Infernal once again, so RNG is on the side of, I guess, both teams kind of want Infernal Soul. Just imagine Kog'Maw with Infernal Soul, so much damage, but then again, Jinx with Infernal Soul is a nightmare.
Oh no.
For OGL, and
did you see that?
yeah, the
blue buff actually got taken up by the Cinderhulk. No blue buff for Ahri. Sad days.
I think he autoed it once.
Might be the case. Because Sunfire doesn't last hit it, right? Sunfire will leave it at 1 HP.
Yeah, it'll leave it at 1 HP. So he had to just auto attack it. It's unfortunate.
That's the prank, I'm a manaless champion, but my blue.
Gotta get that CDR and the elastic slingshots that he's not using. Gotta save it for next game. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and we've got a lane gank for a lane that isn't here. Come on, Rindo, what are you doing?
Well,
No,
I mean,
no, he
okay,
won.
never mind. Never mind. He
What's
drops the
going
Herald.
on?
Okay, okay, Rindo drops the Herald. Should be able to get first turret for his team, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
could have done
Hopefully.
that Herald a little earlier, or could have not shown yourself. It was one
Yeah,
or
I
the
was
other.
gonna say, yeah.
Did neither. Now we've got the Kane here.
It still looks like the Kog'Maw's in a horrible position. Does dodge the dazzle. Meanwhile, Kane is finding Rindo. GPO coming through. And Cosmic Radiance able to save the HP bars of Jinx and the Tarek. Nice knockup coming in through as well. Ross completion, I think, is done here. Meanwhile, Ari Charm does land, but Rip gets the kill on OGN. Now they're looking for more. Gets excited, is going amazingly well for the side of EOD. Now they're turning towards him, but a double kill for the Karma. Nicely done as they turn towards Rip. A 1v1, but a triple kill goes straight over to Gosha. Gosha able to save the 3v3 fight that was happening between both teams here.
Yeah, and it was a good turnaround from OGL. For a moment there, it looked like they were in trouble. OGN went down to start the fight. Rindo had the passive, so didn't go down as well. You saw the Jinx getting excited, getting the free firing off, and then the flank from Dr. Kennen came in. And then there just wasn't enough damage. You had the shields from Karma, the wild growth from Lulu came in only after Dr. Kennen committed his ultimates to get into the middle of the OGL backline. And once he was there and suddenly Jester had a whole lot more health, it was a disaster for EOD. And OGL did well holding on to their cooldowns, using them only once they were necessary, baiting EOD into thinking they had the turnaround, and then turning that fight back on them again. So that's a good number of kills for them. They're not able to get much in the way of objectives. I think it's only the bottom turret falling, but still gold in their pockets, some kill participation for this Kog'Maw, and the Karma getting very fed as well, with this time an Ardent Sensor that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And now we do see on the top side of the map, GP still holds that CS lead. Vladimir finally completes the Proto Belt, which is a semi-item spike. I think nowadays I see Vladimir's mostly rush into I always forget the name of the item. Oh, all that thought does Proto Belt. Maybe looking for a trade against GP, but does have the Executioner's Calling. But I'm trying to think of the item. Ooh. It's made out of the Wisp, movement speed, a lot of AP.
Spellbinder?
Yeah, Spellbinder, my bad. I see a lot of Vladimirs build it. Obviously, Proto Belt, will forever be useful on Vladimir. But, from what I've seen, a lot of the Vladimirs prefer to go Spellbinder into the decap. Got to get that AP stats. Don't really care for any of the others. But, meanwhile, we do see OGN hovering around his red side. They could maybe look for a pick here. They don't have it warded there, so it's in their control. They only see Tarek and Jinx.
Jinx walking in. Uh-oh.
Okay, I guess everyone just... Now, okay, they deserved it. They just blew their perfect plan.
That?
Rapid Fire gets a kill. Cosmic Radiance able to buy some time, but the Kog'Maw has to deal with the Vladimir. Doesn't quite have enough, but a double kill for Kog. Now he's turning back into the fight. That would be the triple kill, but Ethno picks up the kill. Now they're turning towards Ari. OGM picks up the kill as well. And now that should be Infernal Drake going over, and it's going to be Soul Point again. This time for OGL at 19 minutes.
I'm a little baffled by that one.
At first I was on board, like, okay, play the most easiest play in the book. Bush strat, right? You have the Zac, you have everything set up. And then they just drop it. It's like, oh.
The Tarek walks out of the bush, shows that they're there, and then Rip on Jinx says, you know what? I'm just gonna go walk into the enemy jungle. That's your 80 carry. You need your 80 carry alive. And as soon as OGL see that Jinx way out of position, just walking towards the red buff, not sure what the thought was there, but OGL see the Jinx, they realize, that's a misplay, we'll kill that, and they do. And with that kill, there's no way EOD can win the fight. OGL mop it up, not a contest at all. I'm really unsure what was going through Rip's mind there. I'm sure he had a reason for it, I just can't come up with it, so it's gonna cost them a few more kills, it's gonna cost them a dragon, and OGL now looking to close out this game. They've got Soul Point, Baron is up, Kog'Maw will melt it with 2 items and a couple supports, so they're in a great position.
Yeah. Someone in chat made I don't know if you play Valorant, Joe. You play Valorant at all?
I played Valorant, and I see that comment, entry fragging.
Entry fragger, 80 carry. Not in this game. Maybe in Valorant, Jinx would definitely be an entry fragger, but no. Jinx is not going to is not supposed to entry frag in this game.
Who's the guy with the ultimate that like once he dies he goes back to where he set up the kind of anchor point?
Oh, Phoenix? Yeah.
Yeah. If Jinx was Phoenix, that would have been an excellent play.
Oh yeah. Maybe. Who knows? As we do see the Gosha burning and forcing Dr. Kennon's Spirit Rush. Nice, I guess. You trade ultimate for a HP bar. Nothing too bad there, but I think Spirit Rush is on a relatively low cooldown.
Yeah, it's unlikely to matter here too much. You know, we've got the waves being shoved. This is now just a pressure game for OGL. The Gangplank is winning the side lane push. He has the Canna Barrage to help out where he isn't. The Kog'Maw is just going to be a monster. He got a ton of kills in that fight. He's really starting to scale. Kosha flashes in.
Oh, Kosha going straight on top. Wants the solo kill and is going to get it. Solo kills Dr. Cannon, and the doctor is going to have to go get himself a checkup.
And look at Rip go down.
Oh, Rip. Don't right click him. Oh, Rip. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that
was a good play from
yeah,
Rapid Fire. The flash was aggressive and really successful. That was cool.
I mean, that's what happens when you have Lulu.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just press W, go in, and say, you know what? There's nothing you can do to stop me. I run fast. I do all the damage in the world. You cannot out DPS me. And it's a good aggressive play from Rapid Fire. And now OGL just running around the map trying to pick up kills.
Yep. I mean, TP is coming in from Dr. Cannon.
What?
Wait, guess his charm on top of Kog'Maw, but it's not even gonna matter. No one's available to put the damage on Kog. Vladimir does end up finishing him off, and you know the cost of one carry for two players, is an okay trade if you're OGL. And now
is it just that trade though?
Yeah, never mind. It looks like it's gonna be more as Kane does look for the knockup. Is gonna go on top of Vladimir. Nice third Q coming out from Mio, but GP's just going to slice and dice on top of the Vlad. Meanwhile, Gosha's just silently pushing the bottom side of the map.
Here's the issue.
Rip
there was no
going to be dead
in any of that. And it was a 5-for-2 win for OGL in, I mean, it was a delayed 4v5, but effectively a 4v5 at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed.
This is getting really bad.
There are 2 Ardent Sensors on one team. What are your thoughts on that, Cole?
You're handing me the easy softball, which is if you look at Ardent Sensor, you can see that it's unique passive and it does not stack. So unfortunately, Ardent Sensor not gonna double layer. I mean, you could say, we want 100% uptime because we'll do a Lulu shield and then a Karma shield and then we'll alternate. And like, maybe if you're Galaxy Brain, that's the right idea. In general, I think it's just better on Karma, though. And I think if you're Lulu, you say, my Karma can apply Ardent Sensor to the entire team. I should probably just build a different support item, get him a Kales so that Kog'Maw doesn't have to worry about a Taric stun or a Jinx.
I still think Lulu keeps it. I don't think Karma needs it.
Yeah,
right?
it's flexible. I mean, Karma doesn't need to do damage here, so we're talking about this. We've got a Dragon Soul coming up. Itemization not going to be the difference maker here for OGL. They're going to win this game regardless of what they build to support champions. So
yeah. Dr. Cannon forced to burn the Spirit Rush as Vladimir goes on top of the Kog'Maw, forced to go into Golden State as Zach is trying to buy some time, but Ethno gets a kill with the Cannon Barrage as OGM finishes him off as well. Cosmic Radiance is way too late, only available for Adam, and that should be a game-ending play here. They get the Dragon, just run it up the base, tap it in, and this looks like a solid win in favor of OGL.
Yeah, it's just over. I mean, normally you like as casters to be like, what's the way they can come back? Is there a chance? The answer is no. There's no chance. That's an Infernal Soul Juggernaut comp. It's a 6-1 Den Kog'Maw. The Gangplank is 807. He's a monster in his own right. This is a formality. We're waiting for OGL to do what they need to do. They've got an inhibitor. They're gonna be able to get this Baron reset, and they'll probably just push it down mid and top and end the game. I don't think EOD has a hope of being able to fight them. They're honestly going to struggle to wave clear the Baron minions enough. It's going to be the concern, and Infernal Soul. Even if the Baron wears out and doesn't do the thing, it's just that unlimited scaling. It's the perfect soul for Kog'Maw, so.
Oh yeah. And I don't know, like this game at the end of the day is like, I think OGL is playing okay, right? I think props to them. They're able to, really capitalize on Kog'Maw getting a slight lead. And they're playing to what their comp does, right? It just super buffs this Kog'Maw, makes him a disgusting threat for EOD. But I think the real issue is like EOD. I don't want to say they had early game advantage, but all three lanes on the side of OGL were relatively weak side. And you're playing Zac, right? Like, I think you at least make an attempt for the gank, but nice knockup coming in from Rindo. Don't think he's going to do much here, but the Vladimir is trying to go on top of Exhaust, puts him down, double kill for the Kog'Maw, looking for more. It's a triple kill. No Penta available as Gosha did take it away, and that should be a GG on the side of OGL, and they're going to go ahead and go out with a surrender vote. Going to go ahead and just want to go eat dinner early for the side of EOD. Congratulations to OGL winning the best of 3 series for Unstoppable Pre-Made.
Yep, and that's a big win for them. We're in a format where it's 4-team groups, and the top 3 teams in the group make it to playoffs. So picking up a win here in week 1 makes it very likely that you'll punch your ticket. It's almost overwhelmingly likely that they'll do so unless they drop both their games and every team in the group ends up. No, wait. I'm really bad at math. Yeah, if every team in the group ends up, if it's 2-1, 2-1, 1-2, 1-2, then they can end up in a tiebreaker if EOD goes 2-0. That's the only way. Is worst case scenario for OGL is that they end up in a tiebreaker at 1 and 2. So one more win, they'll clinch their berth. EOD not out of it yet. When 3 out of 4 teams do make it into playoffs, they still have a couple more chances to pick up a win or two that they need. As long as you can beat one team, you've got pretty good odds. So they're not in too much trouble just yet. I think we can say OGL convincingly the stronger team today, but anything can change at this level. Could just be that Juggernaut comp was popping off because that's what they wanted to play today. And EOD can come back with a different draft later on. Maybe they can bounce back next couple weeks. So well played match by both teams. Congratulations to Omega Gaming Lunar. And we'll see you all next time.
Yep. Thank you for those who watched. I appreciate you guys taking out the time of your nights on a wonderful Saturday night to, check out the Risen channel. Always a big pleasure to work with them. Shout out to Risen as always. And shout out to our producer, Mikey. You know, you don't hear him on the mic often, but this guy's a tank when it comes to producing these Risen streams. So without him, we wouldn't have these wonderful streams for you guys to watch. So, shout out to Mikey. Thank you for those of you who came out to watch and support as always. And there's been Matsuda on the mic. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Yep. We'll see you all next time.